Guys not making a move anymore is so frustrating because the amount of times that I've heard so and so has liked you before, like at this time. I didn't know if you felt the same way, so he never said anything to you. I've been getting that a lot recently, and I can't stop thinking, what if, bro? So guys, can you make a move again? Can we stop being afraid and just make a gesture?
Single men are choosing to stay home and women are panicking. Why are single men dropping out of society? And why are women freaking out and panicking suddenly? Watch it end the video to fully have these questions answered. And now let's go ahead and just jump right into the video.
Look at this article I found today. The dangerous rise of men who won't date woke women. Pathetic. I know you probably can't tell, but I'm quite woke and very alert to social injustice. Woke discrimination in dating should not be tolerated. Also, who wouldn't want this? I mean, look at these bangs. They're perfect. Come to think of it, I've been single for the past 10 years, ever since I started free bleeding in women's marches. But what kind of man doesn't love that level of competence? I don't even have that many dating requirements. I mean, he has to be a vegan, obviously, and he must have his pronouns in his bio. He must provide proof of vaccination and all his boosters, and he must wear an N95 mask or equivalent during sex, but forget about condoms because that's what abortion healthcare is for. He needs to be okay with the fact that I don't shave any body hair, but he has to be perfectly manscaped with the body of Chris Hemsworth. He also must be okay with the fact that I wear natural deodorant. It doesn't really work, but at least I don't have aluminum seeping into my skin. And last but not least, he must not like video games or sports. So I don't really know what the problem is. I'm a total catch. Did you ever think that maybe it's your attitude? Or maybe it's your irrational list of standards? What do you mean attitude? Also, I don't have to lower my standards for any man or anyone.
There's a study called from the Pew Center Research conducted a study that said 63% of men under age 30 would rather stay home and watch porn than go on a date. Men say they are getting their needs met without having to go on a date. Would men rather stay single than be with a woman is the question.
That's what they're saying, pretty much.
63% of men.
I think they're cheap.
Yeah, they just ain't got no money.
They don't have money, which you should get your money up before you start dating. So it is cheaper to sit home and beat your meat than actually go out and find actual women to hang out with.
That's a sad reality.
I disagree.
Why? What do you think?
Is it less of a headache to have to deal with a woman or something?
There it goes. Like, it's a headache. Now I got to take you out. I got to hear what you had to do your whole day.
That's why you take out people you actually like, and then you don't feel that.
Yeah, but then what? I got to get to know you first to like you, right?
Yeah.
So how do I get to know you?
Talk.
Call him.
So you rather man?
Hey, listen, I'm married.
You only got to say.
Okay, so
if you wasn't married,
I'd probably beat him by me at 100 miles an hour.
Well, I just got rejected by a guy, and this is the second time it's happened this year. You guys know that I'm looking for a man to spoil rotten, okay? And just let me know, be honest, if I overdid it a little too much. I cooked for him every single night, and if he didn't like the meal, I would make him something different. I bought him his favorite Lego sets because he felt bad buying them for himself because they're so expensive. I was a giver in every aspect of our relationship. I created Spotify playlists of his favorite songs. I scratched his head and back and cuddled him. I was the big spoon. Every single night he came over to my house. I would send him cute messages every single morning telling him how much I appreciated him and how attractive he was to me. All for him to tell me that I was a little too much and suffocating him and really not his physical type, but he was really glad that he gave it a go. My therapist is gonna have a field day with this one. So yeah, I'm back on the market, so who wants to break my heart next?
Single girlies in their late 20s, early 30s. Where are we finding men?
Unfortunately, they are working overtime instead of going out and dating because they feel they will never be attractive enough or wealthy enough for a girl ever again. They would rather check their weather app than chat with another person on Hinge. If they're not at work, they're usually at home, the gym, playing video games with friends, or fighting for democracy. You're welcome.
Okay, so me and my friend, a platonic homeboy, we went somewhere last night and we had to get out the car like 3 times. Okay, and he didn't open my door not a single time. So I let it go by a couple times, and then I said, now that's your third time not opening my door. And he was like, well, I feel like that's romantic. And I said, wait, wait, this is a common courtesy, okay? I know we just boys, okay? I know we just boys, but I am still, okay? Treat me like a lady. Disregard the mustache and the whiskers down here, okay? I am very much still a feminine woman. Open my door. Open my door. Am I tripping? Bro, open my door, bro. What y'all think?
You see, guys, men are starting to wake up and realize that ultimately it doesn't actually matter what a woman says. It doesn't really matter what a woman thinks. It only matters what she responds to. And that's why men are now walking away from relationships, dating, and society as a whole. Women are no longer traditional women, but they want traditional men. They want the man that's going to open the door for them. They want the man that's going to pay for the meal for them. They want to basically put you in the friend zone and get boyfriend benefits, but without giving you girlfriend benefits. One of the biggest problems that a lot of men face is not understanding how women think and how women operate. We've actually created a new blueprint that teaches you how to understand how women think, how women operate, so that you can be successful in dating, in life, and in everything you do when it comes to women. I'm actually going to unveil to you right now the Men Walking Away community. It's something I've been working on for a while, and it's now live. And you can head over there by using the link in the description of the video or by going to menwalkingaway.com to check the community out. There's a lot of great things, but it's a space only for men where men can share their thoughts, get insights, and even reach out to me directly so that I can help coach you and guide you and share my wisdom through one-on-one sessions with you. There's something for everyone there, so definitely go and check out menwalkingaway.com. The community is linked in the description of the video. And now let's go ahead and jump into the next video.
What happened to men pursuing girls? When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore or put in any effort? It seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to. Or they're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort? When did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him. That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort anymore, don't care to put in effort. And a relationship won't work unless the guy likes the girl just a tiny little bit more. He has to like her just the tiniest bit more for it to work in the long haul. So it would make sense if a guy really wanted to get to know you, that he would go leaps and bounds to get to know you. And when did that shift? Because back in my mom's era, if a guy wanted to take you out on a date, he had to go up to you, he had to get your number, he had to go through lengths to try to talk to you, even if you weren't interested at first. How my parents met? They met at a bar, and my dad asked for my mom to dance. My mom was like, get out of here. She wanted nothing to do with him. If he had just left and listened to her, they would have never gone married. They would have never had kids. But he was persistent. He wanted to take her out on a date so badly. He was like, what do I have to do to take you out on a date? She was working late their first date, so he went to her work, picked her up, prepped a dinner, took her to a park, just planned the whole thing. He wrote her poetry. He was yearning. How my aunt and my uncle met. My aunt was a dancer on a cruise ship, and he was the photographer, and he was persistent. She overheard him one night saying to his buddy, he was like, I'm gonna marry that girl. He had just met her, and now they're married and they have 2 kids together. I don't hear anything like that now. Now we're praising eye contact, and now we're praising if a guy held a door open to us and smiled. That is what we're praising. It feels so backwards. I just wonder when it shifted, because I feel like that is the whole downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone now, because men just don't care anymore.
If you consider yourself a person that would never date an SW worker, an OF girl, or anything like that, I'm going to tell you why you should change your mind. Because OF girls, all the friends that I have that do it, are the most giving partners you will ever meet, and also just like so full of love. But like, this one girl gifted her boyfriend a Rolex for his birthday. You don't want a Rolex? One, we can always travel. If we pay for the Airbnb, it's a tax write-off. If you make some spicy videos in there. Okay, are you starting to like catch what I'm saying? If you mention something, like, they'll probably buy it for you. Like, your birthdays are going to be lit, holidays are going to be lit. and you're gonna get to travel all the time. So I think you should reconsider and date an OF girl.
Guys do not approach you at the bar not because you're not pretty, but it's because of this. I've been going to the bars every weekend with my friends, maybe for the past couple months, and I love it. I love socializing, and I'm single. And my friend and I were talking at the bar the other weekend, and we were talking about how we've never been approached by a single guy before. Like, maybe ever. Which is just insane to think about. Like, I can name a couple occurrences where they have, but it was like people from Europe, and they're like a different breed of people, okay? So I feel like the culture in America is way different. Guys do not want to approach you, not because of how pretty you are or how you look, but it's really because they're scared of you. And then us women over here who are single are thinking like, we look amazing, we did our makeup, we chose the perfect outfit. Why aren't all these guys coming up to us? Even if we're not into them, why don't they just come up just to like make us feel good about ourselves? Okay, now I want you to think of the perspective of a guy. I'll never know what's in a man's head, but I have a pretty good idea from like my guy friends and going out a lot. Guys are intimidated by you, okay? They don't all have that courage or charisma or just bravery to go up to you like you have to somebody else. And on top of just being intimidated by going up to a stranger in general, you're probably surrounded by a big group of friends. And even worse if you're surrounded by your guy friends, because they're going to assume that you're dating one of them, and no one wants to go up to a girl who's surrounded by a bunch of guys, okay? It's just a cock block. So now you're probably thinking, okay, we have this information, but what do we do with it? First off, I don't really think bars are the best place to really find a relationship. It's great to meet people, have fun, really get to know other people. But if you're putting all your eggs in one basket and really putting so much pressure on finding a guy that will take you seriously, that's going to be very hard. The other thing is that we always make fun of dating apps a lot, but I think the percentage is something like 60% of people now meet their significant other on the internet. Because people don't go up to other people anymore because they know they can meet you on a dating app. It's so much easier. This past Saturday, I literally went up to a group of guys and was like, do you want to play cards? I wasn't attracted to any of them, but I'm so happy I did it because I made a new group of friends and it was so much fun. And initially I thought that they weren't that fun. Like, they just seemed like they were like moping around. They all had RBFs, like whatever, and I went up to them and they ended up being the funniest group of guys ever. And I'm sure a lot of guys think of you that way too. You might have like an RBF or just you don't seem approachable, but little do they know how you really are. So the takeaway from this video is that guys not coming up to you out in public says nothing about you. You can literally be like Gigi Hadid and a guy's still not going to come up to you. Guys are intimidated and it takes so much courage to go up to a girl. And a lot of guys are cheap and just don't want to buy you a drink, and they're scared of getting used for a drink, which kind of sucks, but I understand. So do not weigh your worth in whether or not people come up to you, because you are probably way more stunning and people are probably way more attracted to you than you think they are.
Wow. Tell me you're conceited without telling me that you are conceited. So the reason why men are not approaching women is because we're all afraid of them and we don't have the confidence to go and approach them. Now, let me make this very clear. She is right in the sense that back in the 90s, men would often get points just for approaching a woman because the average man did not approach a woman. But the notion now is that, oh, it's because we lack so much confidence and we're so afraid of approaching you that we're not doing it. No, a lot of men are disinterested in relationships today. A lot of men are not going to risk their necks over someone who may not like them and will then chastise them for harassing them for approaching them when they did not want to be approached by that specific guy. In other words, women miss the attention now. They complain about men talking to them, men who they do not like and do not want bothering them, but then they get pissed off when the same men have learned their lessons, have understand now it is never appropriate to approach a woman that you do not know, to approach a stranger that you do not know, things that women have told men themselves, and and basically they're being punished for it. You have to understand, guys, men and women don't think the same way. Men operate using facts, and that's how we reason. Women operate using emotions, and that's how they reason. And that's one of the reasons why men struggle so much, is because they don't understand the way that women think. And like I said, I actually published a brand new blueprint over in menwalkingaway.com, in the Men Walking Away community, which is linked to the description of the video. And I talk about the reasons why this is and how to learn to navigate this. It's so difficult to comprehend women, the way that they think, the way that they operate, the reason why they do things differently. Here's something that men don't comprehend. It's not simply that women have broken logic. No, we have two different operating systems. So, for example, you may have Linux and Windows. Linux and Windows can do a lot of the same things. They can run similar applications, but they are completely different. They're completely different systems. Okay? They're completely different systems. They're completely different operating systems. And that's something that's very hard for people to understand. So it's like trying to run an application, run a Windows application on on a Linux system. It's not going to work because it wasn't designed for Windows. You actually end up with something like a compatibility layer or a translation layer that we see Steam using, that allows Steam OS using, that allows Windows apps to run on a Linux machine. That's kind of how the relationship between men and women are. Trying to reason with a woman is like trying to basically, communicate in a language that she does not understand. Instead of men trying to reason with a woman, it doesn't matter what she says she wants. It doesn't matter what she says she thinks. The only thing that actually matters is what she responds to. And that's why it's very critical for men to really comprehend that we are two different types of people. Why are all of these single men choosing to stay home? They're choosing to stay home because because it's more peaceful. It's happier. You can play video games. You can watch television. You can work on you can build a home gym and work on your body. You can hang out with your favorite waifu. Okay? There's so much more pleasure that you're able to derive from basically staying home, staying away, staying out of the public space, and being around people who do not like you and have made it extremely clear that they don't like you. It is so much better for your mental health and your happiness. We're now finding statistically through research that single men are living far longer than women in general. Single men are now far outliving single women. Why is that? Because when men are single, they are in better health, they take better care of themselves, they're more likely to seek out preventative care. Things completely change. Now, also, they found that fathers have the worst hearts. So if you are a father, that dramatically increases your chances of passing away. It's very, very clear. It's extremely clear that for men to survive, it's your best and really only option at this point is to go your own way. If you want to have a relationship with a woman, you'll have to do that overseas if you're in the United States or in Western society. And even then, you have to understand that, you don't want to commit to anything because they still have the same operating system as all other women. There are cultural differences which can change behaviors, but if you take the woman from overseas and bring her to the United States within a short period of time, she will be just like her American counterparts because they have the same operating system. That's the honest to goodness truth. And that's what a lot of men unfortunately need to wake up to. They have to understand that reality that, she was never yours. It was just your turn. And no matter what you do for her, she can like certain things about you. She can like what things you can do for her. She can like things that you have. She can like your personality. She can like your smile. She can like qualities that you have, but she will never like you truly for the person who you are. She will never love you. It was just your turn. Okay? And the only thing that a woman is ever truly loyal to are her emotions. Women are not loyal to men. Women are loyal to their emotions, and wherever the wind blows, her emotions will go, which is the reason why I tell you guys that you need to focus on yourself. And one of the great things about about our new community, Men Walking Away, is it's a place where you can discuss anything you want as men. It's a community only for men, and that's something that you guys definitely should be jumping on and checking out. Guys, don't miss out on the Men Walking Away community. Ready to take charge of your life? Join a dedicated space for men where you can learn how to reclaim your masculinity, travel the world on your terms, make money online, and attract the women you want. It's also a place to discuss whatever's on your mind. No judgment. Men Walking Away is the community to guide you toward the life you deserve. The community is linked in the description of the video. Join us.
Acting to legitimate reasons why men said they won't date me because of my hair colour. Number one, and definitely the most offensive of them all, was, honestly, I just don't want to be around you too much because your hair just takes all of the attention because it's so bright and orange. For me, this was a 9 out of 10. This hurt my feelings majorly. Number two, and honestly this one really hurt my feelings at the time, but I've kind of worked on it now. But this was, I just don't know if I can be seen with someone so unique looking. This hurt. It was a 10 out of 10 hurt for me. Look, fair enough, mate. You don't want to be seen with an alien. I get it. And number three was, I just don't know if I'll be able to handle or deal with your mood swings. Look, I never have mood swings, okay? I'm as normal as they come. Like, just because I have red hair does not mean I have mood swings, but thanks for putting that stereotype on me. 4 out of 10, because no originality.
What you think a man will spend on you?
I mean, you know, these broke nowadays. So I guess like $100 minimum.
Can I ask you a question real quick? So you see her right here, right? How much you spending? This is a bid. I'm gonna start at $10. $10, $10, $10. $10. That's the most you gonna spend?
I don't even know her like that. Why would I be going a bag on her? Hell no, we ain't doing that.
Okay.
We're not doing that.
There is a Facebook post that is currently going viral on TikTok and Twitter for its absolutely wild take on first dates. Here's a list of places women absolutely refuse to go on a first date to, and thank you to the ladies who reached out to me to help me on my list. Okay, first of all, stop generalizing, because you're going to see this list. You're going to see how ridiculous it is. Not all women subscribe to this ideology. Please do not generalize. I do not want to be in this group. Anyway, let's just go through the list. Number 1, Cheesecake Factory. I didn't know there was a problem with Cheesecake Factory. I personally love Cheesecake Factory. Number 2, Applebee's. Number 3, Chili's. Number 4, Chipotle. Number 5, Olive Garden. Number 6, the movies. I actually agree with that one, but not because it's like below me, but just because you can't get to know a person by going to the movies. 7, your house. 8, any fast food chain. 9, Buffalo Wild Wings. 10, Wingstop. 11, Red Lobster. 12, a buffet. Everybody loves a Chinese buffet. There's nothing wrong with that. 13, IHOP. 14, Denny's. 15, the gym. 16, church. 17, Starbucks. 18, coffee dates. Not just Starbucks, just any coffee date. 19, ice cream dates. 20, family functions. 21, movie nights. 22, somewhere that requires a long drive. So if you want to go see a nice sunset, a nice viewpoint, nope, that's out of bounds. Not allowed anymore. 23, bowling. 24, nightclubs. 25, hookah bar. 26, a bar just for drinks. 27, Waffle House. 28, sports events. What options are left?
When do we get to the ride?
This is the ride!
Yippee!
You've literally removed every single option, every quintessential traditional first date. Done. Not allowed anymore. Like, the only thing that's left is like Gordon Ramsay's private restaurant and a helicopter ride through the city. Like, come on.
I am never gonna financially recover from this.
I understand a couple of these. Like, I personally would not want to go to a hookah bar. Not on a first date, not on any date. I would also say maybe don't go to a guy's house if you do not know him. That's probably not smart. Maybe not do that one. But bowling and coffee dates and church, those are incredible options. Ice cream dates. What is wrong with an ice cream date? I love ice cream. If you are a girl and you do not like ice cream dates, you've got your head screwed on wrong because they are adorable. Somebody commented and said, dates are about getting to know each other, not about how much money a person spent on you. Y'all folks are getting more lost in the sauce by the day. Also, just going out for dinner gets boring. What if I had nothing to talk about? What if it was terrible and then you were just sitting there like, oh, should I order dessert? I really want to get out of here, but I don't want to be rude. You don't want to be in that situation. That's why coffee dates are great for first dates. What you can actually look for is somebody who treats you with kindness and respect, who is dating you with intention, who shows up to your dates dressed nicely, with his hair combed, with a smile on his face, who has a plan for the date, whatever it may be, whether it's bowling or ice cream or coffee, which are all acceptable options, sports events, going to a bar and having a drink, all completely acceptable.
The honest to goodness truth is that most women don't really comprehend how badly women have messed up in general. Men have no real incentive or reason to get into relationships with women anymore, especially when they can use self-gratification to resolve most of their needs while keeping most of their money in their pockets after they're done. Ultimately, relationships with women comes down to men are basically there to serve them and give away all of their value, while women take and then berate men for not giving them enough and not entertaining them enough. Hence, men are just choosing to walk away from relationships, dating, and every other form of interaction with women in society because they've been pushed out of these spaces, and instead stay home, play video games, watch, content that allows them to get the type of gratification that they want, and then keep all of their money to themselves while living lives of simplicity and luxury, or rather, minimalist lives, simple lives of luxury and comfort. Women are responsible for this, but of course, women love plausible deniability that allows them to shift blame to others, specifically men, while taking zero accountability for why they're doing the things that they do. Even Brett Cooper does not understand why women do the things that they do, or she does not want to understand or accept the reasons why women do the things that they do. It's because women and men are fundamentally different. Women think fundamentally different than men. I am not saying that women are evil, but women and men operate differently. Things like honor, respect, responsibility, accountability. These are concepts and notions that are instinctual to men. Being a provider and a protector. These are things that are instinctual to men. Caregiving and nurturing were things that have historically been natural for women, and we can see that when we look at the medical industry, and where most of the people who become nurses are women. Most of the people who are now doctors are women. Most of the people who hold down most of the medical field are women. If you look at in the hospitality in the hospitality if you look at the hotel industry and similar industries, you'll find that when it comes to those types of roles, you have women working in those roles, managerial roles, administrative roles, because women are best designed for those roles, and no one is forcing them to go into those roles, but those are the roles that they have chosen to deviate to. And ultimately, women are designed to be nurturers and caregivers, men are designed to be providers and protectors. Women are not designed to live without a husband, but men are designed to survive independently of women. We know this because throughout history, only around 30 to 40% of all men reproduced, while over 80% of women reproduced. This also tells us that it has been right up to the 19th century for men for women to reproduce for women to reproduce with the same man, or the same man to reproduce with multiple different women. So I mean, nothing has really changed more than, we were told as men over the last 100 years that if we take care of society, if we are providers and protectors, if we give everything for society, then we'll be given status, we'll be given access to a wife, kids, the stupid little white dog, everything else, the two-car garage, and it was offered and given for quite some time, but then the social contract was broken. The state and women, the agents of state who operate as agents of the state, broke the contract while still expecting men to adhere to said contract. If you look at what's happening in Japan right now, men are now being single people, which is basically men, are now basically will be taxed starting 2026 unless something changes, for simply being single. This is in a country where the wages have stagnated and you have a very difficult work culture, and now you're going to be overly taxed for remaining single. And the reason why they're doing this is not to help the family unit. They're actually, because, to encourage people to have kids. No, they're doing this because the state is losing tax revenue because they don't have enough kids. They're trying to bring like almost 1 million people a year to replace the jobs that no longer can be filled in Japan. And now to supplement the lost income, because you don't have people working anymore, you don't have young people working anymore and taking those jobs, they're just going to increase taxes on single people to supplement that. And men pay 80% of all taxes, women make 80% of all consumer purchases, so 80% of all of those taxes will be paid by men. This is only going to result in more men deciding that, hey, you know what, the juice, it's not even worth having a job. It's better to just walk away from society and base and find ways to live without working. We actually have a lot of that offered over in Men Walking Away, where we in the Men Walking Away community, menwalkingaway.com, where we teach you. Also, we have some blueprints over there that will also teach you how to get rid of that job, how to basically get rid of your 9 to 5 and survive and thrive without a formal job. And it'll show you the different tips and tricks that men are using right now, because over 30 million men have dropped out of the workforce, and there's a variety of different ways that they've done that. So we've taken all of that, put that into a beautiful little blueprint for you guys, and you can actually find that over in menwalkingaway.com. Again, all of that is linked in the description of the video. But these are just things that you have to know and have to understand, because things are never going to go back to the way that they are. And for men who do want a relationship, you have to basically, you're gonna have to look overseas if you want something like that.
And wonderful.
Why most young, ambitious guys are not dating right now.
It's funny how so many people are mad at men for staying single and not dating right now. I work 50, 60 hours a week. I have a regular job. I create content. I write books. I started a business. I am working on launching a mobile app. I got a lot going on. So my free time I use for self-care, like literally by myself, doing stuff by myself for my own care. Family, seeing family, and being with friends. People that I love, people that love me, and people that, give a lot to me. I was on Hinge for like 2 weeks maybe. So superficial. Got off right away. Like, nobody really cares to get to know you, or nobody just really values you. You're just pretty much like used for dates. Just kind of filling a void. And that problem is, I've gone to therapy, I've healed my wounds and all those things. A lot of these people choose not to do that. They're just trying to fill voids. And just nobody wants to bring anything to the table. I'm talking both genders, both sides. They just are like, I'm the prize. I don't need to chase. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. No, it's like just a stupid mindset. Like, we all are the prize, but we also all need to bring something to the table. We can't just bring ourselves and then expect to be pampered with giving nothing in return. It's what we call giving as much as you receive. It's what karma is. So yeah, providing resources, protection, those things as a man, it's important to me. But the thing is, if I don't get peace in return, I'm not going to entertain it. Like, if you bring stress in my life, if you bring corruption into my life, you don't believe in me, I don't want to be with you. It's just straight simple. Because I've detached from the need to get married and the need to have kids. I am fine by myself. I am okay with living on my own. So, we can't be mad. Truth hurts sometimes. Tough pill to swallow. We just gotta be better, guys.
I was rejected by a guy in the most embarrassing and humiliating way possible, but still a part of me feels like this was my fault, so I need you guys to let me know what you think. One day, I matched with this guy on Bumble who was very, very handsome. He was a documentary filmmaker, curly brown hair, profile said 6'2". At the time, I was going through an identity crisis, so I just so happened to dye my hair back to brunette, although previous to that, I was blonde. I was on this dating app, and unfortunately, I hadn't updated any of my photos to reflect the way that I looked, although the photos that I did have were just taken 2-3 months ago. It's not like my physical appearance looked that different, it's just that my hair color was very different. So me and this guy are literally talking for 2 days, we're hitting it off, the conversation is flowing back and forth, and most of the time guys will just waste your time and not ask you out on a date, or if they ask you out on a date, they'll ask you to go for a walk in the park. Days after us matching, we are on a date, I meet him for the first time, he's exiting his car, and he's walking towards me, and as he's walking towards me, I could tell he has a confused look on his face. And I've been on many dates. I've never been accused of being a catfish. I've never had somebody disappointed when they saw me in real life. In fact, I've had guys tell me that they are surprised and that I actually look better in person, that I look better than in my photos. He gives me a hug, we walk to the restaurant, we sit down, we're ordering drinks, and he's just asking him random questions, trying to make small talk, and he is just being very, very odd and standoffish. And at one point during the date, he looks at me and he says, "You look a little different than on your photos." I was like, yeah, I actually dyed my hair. I went darker. I've been a brunette in the past. This is actually close to my natural hair color. And I was just tired of the blonde because it was ruining my hair. And then he tells me that he thinks that that is actually misleading and that I should have updated my dating profile photos to match how my hair looks now. So then I asked him, well, would that have changed your opinion of me? Would that have made you not want to go out on a date? And he kind of laughs and shrugs it off and says, well, you know, I do like blondes. And that just like rubbed me the wrong way. Anyway, we end up splitting some appetizers on a couple of drinks, and I end up leaving and thinking to myself, like, this is probably not going to go anywhere because that guy was super, super weird. I have no plans on texting this guy, but then I get a text from him the next evening. He sends me a whole paragraph that I never even asked for. In his paragraph, he tells me that he thinks that it's not right, that I misrepresented myself on my dating profile, and that if he's being completely 100% transparent, he is into blondes, that is his specific type, and he does not prefer brunettes. I never replied to him. I ended up blocking his number. But guys, there was a part of me that almost got my butt into my car and went to Sally Beauty Supply to get some bleach because I was so insecure at that point. When I look back on it though, did I make a mistake? Did I misrepresent myself? Did I catfish this guy? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Probably gonna get shit for this video, but honestly, I don't care. I'm gonna make it anyway. I want to talk about guys that reject hot chicks and then slum. Meaning you dated a hot girl and then decided that hot girl was not for you and are now dating a girl that is not nearly as hot. Obviously, there can be a lot of factors as to why you reject a hot girl. This is just a very broad generalization, but I'm gonna say it. I think the main reason that men reject hot women is because they don't want to have to work that hard. I mean, I think it's no secret that hot chicks tend to have higher expectations and higher standards than maybe less attractive women. I know how that sounds. It sounds really bad, but I think it's just because, again, hot chicks are just used to being treated a certain way. So I do think oftentimes when attractive men meet attractive women, they're almost like, crap, I'm actually gonna have to put in a lot of work here. Whereas girls that are less attractive just don't require that much work. To be clear, I think that you guys should be putting in work for whoever you are dating, no matter what they look like. But I think that girls that are less attractive, I mean, they're gonna be more likely to just accept you for how you are. They're gonna appreciate you more. They're going to demand less. They're gonna make you feel better about yourself. Again, obviously, I'm sure that it's like you could break up with a hot chick because she's just an asshole. But if that were really the case, then why wouldn't you date another hot girl afterwards? And yes, I understand that obviously other things than looks are more important, and you could have matured and realized like, hey, I actually want to date somebody that I have shit in common with and makes me laugh and that's smart and cool and not just hot. But there are hot girls that have good personalities and that are smart and cool and you have things in common with too. They're just higher maintenance. I get it, you're gonna call me shallow and all of that, but I'm just calling it like I see it. Am I crazy? Let me know in the comments below. Follow me for more tips.
So guys, this woman serves as the perfect example and reason for why men are choosing not to date so-called hot chicks, where you have a woman where she takes off her makeup and she's basically a 6 or maybe a 7 at best, a lot of times a 5. But when she puts on the makeup, puts on certain types of clothes, like shapewear and all the other stuff to make her look more attractive than she actually is, she then goes out and she believes that the man is supposed to make her feel happy. He's supposed to woo her. He's supposed to do all of these different things. And it's unbelievable. So, for example, if I'm a man and I go to the gym and I work out and I take care of myself and I have a 6-pack and I do all of these things and I'm working on my finances and all of these other different things to be a man of value, and I work on my personality and I have learned how to be funny and how to hold someone's attention, and then I'm dating a woman who believes that I'm just there to serve her. I'm just there to make her happy. I'm just there to entertain her. Why am I going to keep doing those things indefinitely? The idea of being in a relationship with someone is so that you don't have to constantly do those things. The idea of being in a relationship with someone for a man is so that you will have peace. A man finds a woman to be in a relationship with so that he can live a more peaceful life, so that he does not have to be out there on the dating market, so that he does not have to constantly be out there wooing a woman. He is looking for a woman who will be happy with simple things, a woman who can stay home and raise a family, a woman who's going to be able to take care of children when they're sick and wants to do these things, a woman who's going to be there to take care of him when he's sick and be grateful that she has a man that cares about her that much and that wants to be a good father and wants to be in a relationship. You know, women take this for granted. This woman, who is likely one of the women that she's talking about, you know, she puts on this makeup and then she goes out and then she wonders why men are choosing to avoid relationships and dating with someone that has her type of attitude, and it's because a lot of so-called hot chicks have very bad personalities. Because they're so-called hot chicks, they've gone around using their looks to get whatever they want, and they haven't had to work on their personalities. They haven't had to work on themselves as people, and they believe that men simply exist to serve them. With content like this out there now, red pill content out there, black pill content out there, men are realizing that, you know what, I would rather keep my money to myself. I would rather keep my money in my pocket and live a better life and live a happier life. And women can do their own thing. They can go and they can find someone, they can go find themselves a simp who's going to do that for them. Simps right now, a lot of the simps are now crying in the comment section, even though they don't want to change their ways. They don't want to go on dates anymore, because they're tired of feeling like crap. They're tired of losing all of their money. They're tired of being taken advantage of, y'all. Simping ain't easy. So even though these men don't want to stop simping, they get retired from the game. Simping is a game, just like pimping is a game. Simping is a game. All right, that's their way of survival. Simping is a form of survival. But these men are like, they're realizing that it's just not worth it anymore. For a lot of these dudes, simping was a means of obtaining access to a woman. You know, that was their means of obtaining access to a woman. And they were like, I don't really care if like I'm going to be in a relationship where I'm basically a CUCK. At least I'm in the relationship. I can behave this way and blah, 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 blah. But now it's becoming way too expensive to be a simp. That's why the simp economy has collapsed over in countries like China. And it's collapsing in the US, but it's collapsed in China. And what women are now doing that previously were, you know, taking advantage of these dudes, they can't find men to supplement their living anymore. So they're turning to TikTok and these other similar platforms like TikTok and doing stupid dances online, those stupid, like the dancing girls. And then they live off donations. You know, they basically sell it for a couple, like $3.99 a month and whatever. And the Sims are going on there, and the Sims don't have that kind of money anymore where they can drop hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they can drop a couple dollars here and there for their favorite idol. You know, $2, $3 here and there for their favorite idol. And their idol is like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. What these women don't comprehend is that they're basically losing their value. They're losing their souls, and they're becoming reconditioned to do this type of thing where they're exchanging their value. They're exchanging their humanity for money. And when I say humanity, if you're dancing online for money, you're basically, you know, giving up a part of yourself, because it's called borderline content, where they wear these outfits that are borderline outfits, you know, the cute, the attractive dress. You've seen these videos on YouTube or TikTok, and they basically start dancing, and it's a form of soft content, soft, you know what, but it's still a form of soft content that gives these men a dopamine hit, and then men reward them with small amounts of money or sometimes larger amounts of money, and they're once again able to tap into the simp economy.
The message for men: if a woman gives you any type of fashion or beauty advice, take it. She's always right. She wants you to shave your beard. Guess what? You're going to look 5,000 times better. If she tells you to get rid of those heinous skinny jeans and put on some baggy jeans, do it. You will probably look delicious. If she tells you to get a new haircut, cut the hair. I have never seen a video on the internet of a guy explaining that a girl has told him to do something different with the way he looks, and he ended up looking worse. I'll wait. Find a video. Find a video of the girl making him look worse. It's never happened. Listen to your girl.
The minute a man rejects me, my first thought is it's because I'm bigger. I haven't completely worked through it yet, but this is something I keep thinking to help myself. So I like to think of men's preference for skinnier women as a systemic issue. It's not a personal issue. So if this happens to you and someone rejects you in favor of a skinnier counterpart, remember that it has nothing to do with you and your body and how worthy you are of love, how beautiful you are, all of that. And it has everything to do with a system that pushes capitalism, misogyny, white supremacy, everything that I don't want anything to do with, down our throats, and tells us to change if we want to be worthy of love. And a lot of times I think that men benefit from this system so they don't question it. And I don't know about you, but I don't even want to be with a man that doesn't question that system of oppression. But at the same time, it doesn't make it hurt any less when rejections feel like a personal attack on your body. It has nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with a systemic problem. And this whole system has brainwashed us all into thinking that skinny equals hot. Skinny is hot, but fat is also hot. And it's frustrating to feel like it's not, and to have that reinforced by the men that you go on dates with and the people that you want to impress and you want to love you fully. I am still doing a lot of self-work on this, but it's been very cathartic to talk about it with you guys. You're all very smart, so if you want to add anything to this conversation, I love reading through the comments. Please let me know.
Video going viral right now of my boyfriend proposing to me during the LA City Marathon and me saying no because I was in the middle of running a marathon. And the comments on the video were getting kind of insane. Like, a lot of them were just finding it funny the way I kind of like dodged out of his way and was like, no, 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 no. But there are other people being like, a woman doesn't know a good man when he's right in front of her, and like, does she think she's gonna win the marathon? Like, why is she in such a rush? And like, no, that's just not the way we're gonna look at this. I was trying to run a sub 4-hour marathon. I've been training for this for 6 months, through injuries, through bad days, through everything. My boyfriend has seen it all. And so for him to come and propose to me at mile 14, to literally be on the course blocking me, no, that's not how we're gonna do that. So I said no. At the time, I kept running. What you don't see after this is all the things that led to us actually breaking up. He calls me on the phone while I'm running a marathon. Who calls someone who's running a marathon? I obviously declined that. I keep running. At mile 18, he's back. He's clearly emotional, and he brought his parents this time. So I'm like, okay, I guess I have to like talk him down. I am like, I'm not saying no permanently. It just wasn't a good circumstance to propose. And then I keep running once I think he's calm enough, and I end up finishing in 4 hours, 1 minute, and 36 seconds. Now, do I think I would have run the sub 4 marathon if I hadn't stopped? I can't say. Obviously, you can't rewrite history, but I was very frustrated. And what sucked even more is that after all this, he still couldn't see it my way. He's like, you're so worried about these numbers. It's just a number. Like, I'm talking about spending our whole life together. And I'm just like, no, if we're not seeing eye to eye on this, we are not seeing eye to eye in our marriage. And I broke things off, and that is where we stand.
So I don't know why I feel the need to constantly embarrass myself on this app, but basically there was this guy, and he showed up on my like Instagram explore page, and I was like, oh, like that's like a really attractive guy, like he's very handsome. And I clicked on his profile and I was like, oh, like this is a really like pretty guy, like he's very good looking. And I don't normally like really pretty guys. Like, looks just aren't really like, I don't care that much about looks. Like, there's other things to a person besides their looks. And as I'm looking at his profile, I'm like, oh, he is in a similar industry that I'm in, and we have like mutual friends and whatnot. And so I was just like, huh, what an attractive person. So then I start going out and I start seeing him more. Like, I went to a bar and he was like 3 seats down from me, and I was like, that's the guy from Instagram, like the really hot guy. And then I see him again and again. And when I tell you guys, I was literally at a fair in a tent for taxidermy animals, and this man was in the same tent as me. So I'm like, this is so weird. Never worked up the nerve to talk to him. I could not talk to him. I was just like, you're just way too pretty. I could never talk to you. And I don't like to pursue guys. Like, I would rather have a guy talk to me first. I'm not like about to go up to a guy and start flirting with them. So I keep seeing him and I keep seeing him, and my friends are just like, you think this guy is so hot, like you have to just like talk to him like one time. And so I think in my head I was just like, I just want to do it just to like say that I did it. So this one night I'm out with one of my friends and he was there, and I saw him like a bunch of times and I chickened out every single time. And then finally I was like, you know what, like get your head in the game, like just go up and just say something. And so I went up, and I don't know what took over my body, but I touched this man's arm. I literally touched his arm, and I was like, hey, you did a great job, because he like did something. And he was like, oh, like thank you so much. And I was not trying to like flirt with him at all. I just started talking about like industry related things, and he was like, oh, like here, have my number, like text me sometime. Not like flirty, it was about like a work thing.
So basically, after everything that she went through and everything that she did and having to work up the courage and the nerve to finally go and talk to this guy. Guess what ends up happening? She approaches him. She tells him, hey, great job on what you did. And he immediately does what men have been told to do. Don't assume that the woman is interested in you. If she comes and speaks to you, if she's nice to you, if she touches you, if it even seems like she's flirting with you, if she's not flirting with you, she's just being nice. Just be respectful, be professional, treat everything like a job interview, treat every interaction with a woman as a professional, as professional as possible, and go from there. So, and here's what women do. A lot of women will, for example, say they want to talk to some guy, and then the guy would work up the nerve to go and talk to them. And then the guy talks to them, and they're like, yeah, I don't like this guy anymore. And then they go and make a video online saying that, you know, men need to understand that just because a woman talks to you and she's nice to you, it doesn't mean that she's actually interested in you. And the reason why she goes and makes this video is because she doesn't want to take the accountability for the fact that she was sending out these indicators, looking at him, smiling at him, trying to get his attention so that he would come over and talk to her. And then after he did come over and talk to her, she suddenly decided that she didn't like him based on maybe some quality he has. It could be something he said. It could be, for example, I remember this woman who used to give dating advice, and she would say something along the lines of, I think it was her. She said something like, you know, this guy walked up to her. She was at like a bar or something. And this guy that she wanted to talk to finally came up to her and walked up to her and said to her that something like, you know, you're very beautiful. Would you like to go and grab dinner with me? And she immediately lost attraction for him and no longer liked him anymore because he basically had just given her what she wanted. She wanted him to come up to her. She wanted him to talk to her. She wanted to go out on a date with him, but she didn't want him to go. She didn't want him to be that direct. She basically wanted him to work for it. And she wanted him to create intrigue and make her want him. And the very moment that she had the idea that she could have this man, she could go on the date with this man, that this man was actually interested in her, she now no longer wanted him anymore. This is why we talk about the way that women think. A lot of women don't understand the reasons why they do the things that they do, or they don't want to accept the reason. They don't want to accept why they do the things that they do. And that's why they often go into things like fields like psychology, because they're trying to figure out why they operate the way that they do. The truth of the matter is that when it comes to psychology, there should be two very different books for the genders. There should be a book of male psychology and a book of female psychology. There should be books that are designed specifically geared towards the way that women think and behave, and there should be books that are designed and geared towards the way that men think and behave. So a book for women, a book for men that analyzes how women behave and analyzes how men behave, because our operating systems are completely different. And it doesn't matter what a woman says, it only matters what she reacts to. Okay, what she responds to. That's it. Nothing else matters, because a woman will tell you what she envisions, what she wants, and all of these things, and then she'll say that she's miserable with these things. She'll describe the perfect man. You can give her the exact man that she described. He has all of the qualities that she described. He ticks off every single box. And then she'll say that, you know, that she was miserable with him. Why are you miserable with him? He's a multi-billionaire. He's 8 feet tall. You know, he's compassionate and kind and this and this and this and this and this. He's like of this ethnicity with this specific mixture. He's all of these things. And then what ends up happening? She has this guy that has all of these things, but guess what? Now she wants more and something else, because those are the only things that will ever make a woman truly happy. More and something else, because no matter how good women have it, they will never be content with what they have at home. They will always desire something else and someone else, because they need to have their emotions continuously stimulated so they get their regular hits of dopamine. Guys, don't miss out on the Men Walking Away community. Ready to take charge of your life? Join a dedicated space for men where you can learn how to reclaim your masculinity, travel the world on your terms, make money online, and attract the women you want. It's also a place to discuss whatever's on your mind. No judgment. Men Walking Away is the community to guide you toward the life you deserve. The community is linked in the description of the video. Join us.
You know that 5-foot guy I was speaking to, like the last Mexican guy, who completely discarded me as if I was absolutely nothing? Well, I've seen some updates. He's actually with someone new now. She's got like brownie blonde hair. She's a stripper. Again. They're all apart from me. The only one that can't dance is the only one that he didn't want, you know. She hasn't got kids though, and he didn't like kids, so whatever. I don't care. Go, Mr. Mexico. On to a new one.
Me for bed while I tell you about the worst time I've ever been rejected by a guy. I literally have not told anyone this story because that's how humbling the experience was. Background info, I never ever approach guys first because I have anxiety. So I must have just been feeling crazy this night. So I see this guy out of the corner of my eye and he is super duper tall, like exactly my type. You guys probably wouldn't think he's cute, but I find average guys attractive. Something was telling me, like, Avery, this is your husband. You need to go speak to this guy. So I got next to him, trying to be as casual as possible, acting like I'm ordering something, and I'm like, oh, what are you ordering? Anyways, he ends up telling me what he was ordering, and I think it was like, oh, I'm gonna get the same or something. I think he said something like, why would you order that? And I was like, but you're ordering it. At this point, I was about to walk away anyways because he was so weird and like dry. And then he looks at me and I'm like, oh wait, maybe he is normal, can hold a conversation. And you know what he says to me? Are you friends with my girlfriend? Obviously, I knew I wasn't friends with his girlfriend because girl's girl, what? But I'm like, who's your girlfriend? He says a random name. I'm like, no, I'm not friends with her. At this point, I'm walking away because I'm not talking to a guy with a girlfriend. That's just so weird. And he goes, wait, do I know you though? I said, no, but you have a girlfriend. And he said, can I get to know you? He then goes, I lied, I don't have a girlfriend. I said, why would you lie about having a girlfriend? You know what this man says? He says, because you're not my type. We can be friends though. I'm pretty sure I ran away and walked to the bathroom in pure embarrassment and disbelief because if he had to lie about having a girlfriend, because that's how unattractive I am to him, that's terrifying. And it's also terrifying if he did have a girlfriend and then just wanted to talk to me. Either way, it was so humbling, and I will never be approaching a guy ever again.
So women are now discovering that actions have consequences and that men are done tolerating nonsense and accepting the bare minimum. Men are waking up and realizing that they have value and that women are the ones who actually need them. Men don't need anyone to survive. Men can be happy by themselves once they overcome the fear of being alone. That's how it is, and that's how it's just going to be going forward. What do you guys think regarding this? Single men are choosing to stay home, and they're choosing to stay home and avoid dating and relationships because the juice is no longer worth the squeeze, and they're finding happiness in solitude. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video, and just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.